the ice. Louis, it's hard not to be fired up when you've got McDavid and MacKinnon head-to-head.
Kane couldn't pick it up. McCarr can. Works it in to McKinnon. He'll shoot and score!
On the goal by Bouchard, the Louis reference. Here's Kane, beautiful move to the net. Scores! Hat-trick! Evander Kane! Holds in the corner and now along the half boards. Oh, beautiful wheel-around move. Shoots and scores! The stick on that Kulak. Cross ice, one-timer to the center, and there's Stevie! He's got it! On his horse, powering through. The speed was one stick handling. Oh my goodness, what a goal from Nathan MacKinnon! That's what they wanted. Rangers having trouble changing here. McDavid, beautiful move. Shoots, score! Game 5, McDavid scores! Game winner, series winner for Connor McDavid!
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode here on Above Average. My name is Trevor, and we got a good one for you today. It feels like Christmas. It feels like Christmas Eve, actually. It was the day before, the night before, the Edmonton Oilers, the Colorado Avalanche, Western Conference Final. I mean, what more could you say? Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar. Like, oh, this series is going to be insane. As an Oilers fan, to still be, watching Oilers, coming to the end of May. It's going to be June. Are you kidding me? Like, what? That's ridiculous. The Oilers as a season already is it's a great season. It's a win in my books, even though, we haven't won the cup, or whatever. We beat the Calgary Flames. And, I mean, every time you get to do that in a season 7 or a 7 game series, it's insane. I was telling myself, I'm like, please, let's just beat the Flames, and then if we don't win the cup, I'm okay with that. Let's just at least beat the Flames and not go out to the Flames, and we did that, and yeah, I'm all smiles. So obviously we're not going to be talking about the Flames. We're moving on to the Colorado Avalanche, and wow, what a series this is going to be. I mentioned the players already. It's going to be a star-studded, battle, and besides those guys, you still got Rantanen, you still got Bowen Byram, who's making a name for himself, Nazem Kadri, you got the captain, Gabriel Landeskog, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman, and Evander Kane. So this is going to be high offense. Will it be like the Flames-Oilers series? I don't know. But what I do know is the Edmonton Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche played 3 games this year, and they play in the regular season, that is. Edmonton won 1 game, and they went 1-0-2, and Colorado, obviously, they went 2-1-0. The first 2 games went into needed extra time. The first one went into overtime, and that was a gut punch. I remember that game. That one sucked. Yeah, it was like 20 seconds into overtime, and pretty well Colorado had it in our zone the whole time. Evander Kane skated over the puck, and then it was a 2-on-1 with guess who playing defense for the Oilers? Connor McDavid. Yeah, that's not really a good recipe for success. And go figure, Nathan MacKinnon won that one for the Colorado Avalanche. And yeah, so that was game 1. Game 2, obviously a nail biter as well. That one needed extra time, more so actually than the game previous. It went to shootout, and the game winner again, Nathan MacKinnon. Find a trend following those last 2 games. But the last game that the Oilers played, the Colorado Avalanche, in the season was game 3. The Oilers won, and they didn't need extra time. They did it in regulation. They won 6-3, I believe the score was. What a great game that was. Let me see quickly. I think, did Evander Kane get a hat trick? So yeah, Evander Kane didn't get a hat trick in that game, but he got 2 goals, and the Oilers won, yeah, 6-3. So this is gonna, I can't wait. Do I expect the Oilers to win this series? I honestly don't know what to expect, if I'm being honest. I didn't really, on paper, did they match up, against the Calgary Flames? Everyone picked Calgary to beat the Oilers, and, you look how that went. That's the thing I love about hockey and playoffs. You never know. There's underdog teams like the Montreal Canadiens, last year. So, I mean, with McDavid, you can't bet against them, and especially right now. But he's playing on another planet. You look at the. I'll quickly talk about the team stats now. Edmonton, Colorado. Edmonton's played 2 more games. They've got 12 games played, and they're 8-4. Colorado 8-2 and 10 games played. The winning percentage for the Edmonton Oilers is .667, and for the Colorado Avalanche, .800. So pretty good. This is interesting. Goals for Edmonton Oilers lead the current NHL in goals for 52, and Colorado is second with 43. And goals against, Edmonton is quite a bit higher than Colorado Avalanche. They've got 37 goals against to Colorado's 27. Goals for per game, the Oilers are averaging 4.33 and Colorado is averaging 4.3. The power play, 28.2% for the Oilers, so obviously that's pretty lethal, but, you know, Colorado is just as lethal, and actually it's more lethal at, you know, converting at a 34.5% rate. That is insane, but where the Oilers have the edge is in penalty kill, which is 85.4%, and Colorado actually takes a pretty big dip here at 73.1%. You know, as an Oilers fan, the one thing that stuck out, you know, I've been watching a pretty lethal power play for the Oilers in the last like 3 years, you know, and Colorado, every time the Oilers played them this year, every time the Oilers got a penalty and the Colorado Avalanche were on a power play, I was like, wow, like I thought Edmonton's power play was lethal. I don't know what it is, like Colorado's power play looks like way more lethal than the Oilers, so that does scare me, but you know, it's, you know, I do like that our penalty kill is ranks first amongst current teams still, or no, sorry, Tampa Bay is first and then the Oilers are second, I believe, in penalty kill. And, you know, that's good. So I like that. I like that we got a pretty high, you know, penalty kill percentage. So that's nice. Obviously going against the Colorado Avalanche, you're going to need that. Here's hoping, you know, they got to play smart, play with discipline, and, you know, not let the emotions run high. Talking to you, Cassian or Kane, you know, or Nurse, you know, those guys seem to take the dumb penalties, it seems. So yeah, that's pretty insane, and it's pretty even, honestly, a lot more even than a lot of people expect. As for players and points, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl lead the way in the entire NHL right now for the remaining teams. 26 points respectively for both players, which is crazy. Their stats are actually the exact same, with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl both having, I think, 7 goals. Wait, let's see. Yeah, 7 goals and 19 assists, so that's crazy. And, you know, it's also crazy because Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon, you know, they're having really, really good postseasons in and of themselves, you know. It's just kind of Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, it's, everyone's talking about them. But Nathan MacKinnon, 13 points, Cale Makar, 13 points in this year's playoffs, which is really, really good. But it's crazy to think that, you know, Nathan MacKinnon and, you know, Cale Makar, you know, 13 points, Nathan MacKinnon, 13 points, 13 plus 13 is 26. That's how many points Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl both have. So when you put it like that, it's like, wow, like it just goes to show, you know, Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon are obviously very lethal players, but just Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are playing at like another world right now, the whole galaxy away. It's insane. But you love to see it if you're an Oilers fan. You know, as for assists, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl still rank first, respectively, 19-19, and Adam Fox and Nikita Kucherov are third and fourth. Yeah, so that's really interesting. And goals, Nathan MacKinnon with 8 goals, Evander Kane with 12, Zach Hyman with 8 goals, Connor McDavid with 7, and Leon Draisaitl with 7. So you got 4 Oilers for you know, leading the league in goals in the playoffs this year, which is crazy. That I never would have thought that. The depth is really, really coming in. Like a lot of these guys that we didn't have last year are stepping up big. And if you're an Oilers fan, which I am, that's huge. As for goalies, the battle of the goalies, this is honestly going to be very interesting. Mike Smith currently rocking a 2.70 goals against average, and Darcy Kemper is 2.44 save percentage. That Mike Smith has got a 0.927, which is pretty good. And let's go. I got to look to all leaders here. Where's Darcy Kemper? He's got a 0.904. So this is pretty interesting because a lot of people are talking about, you know, the highly offensive, you know, threats for both teams, but goaltending is going to be huge. And I honestly, you know, I don't know how goaltending will fare for the Avalanche. Darcy Kemper struggled in the last series against the St. Louis Blues. And, you know, this is Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. You just look what Connor did to, you know, a potential Vezina winning goalie in Jacob Markstrom. And it's crazy. So Smith currently does have the better numbers than Kemper. And the fact that that favors the Oilers right now is pretty surprising. And you look at the team that's in front of Colorado, you know, you think, oh, you know, they got a great team in front of them. So essentially Kemper's just playing bad at this point, and or, you know, just not the greatest. And so that's obviously going to be huge for the Oilers. If they're going to want to, you know, advance, they got to take, you know, full advantage of Darcy Kuemper while he's leaky, and it seems like he might be right now. If there's any Avs fans watching the channel, I'd love to know your thoughts on Darcy Kuemper, because he is a goalie that the Oilers did pursue 2 years ago, and he ultimately chose to go to Colorado. And so it's funny because the Oilers also did try to get Jacob Markstrom, and look how that turned out, Jacob. Suck it. Regardless, this series is going to be one to remember. It's like a series you haven't had or seen in so long. Like I can't even remember the last time a series with two like powerhouses, MacKinnon, McDavid. Like that is just insane, and it's going to be so fun to watch. These two, those two players are, you know, the most explosive, you know, some of the fastest players in the world. You know, I think a lot of people would say Nathan MacKinnon is the second best player in the world. You know, I'd probably have to agree. As far as, you know, the eye test, you know, he sticks out way more than, you know, Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl kind of does the smaller things that, you know, aren't as, you know, fun to watch. But I mean, McKinnon's all wheels. He's got an unbelievable shot. He's got great hands, and he's a force, and he's feisty, and especially in the playoffs, man. He plays on edge, and I really, really like what Nathan MacKinnon had to say about the Oilers in today's interview with Gabe Landeskog. That honestly could be one of the biggest reasons why the Flames got destroyed by the Oilers. I honestly think they underestimated them, but MacKinnon didn't, you know, I'm just going to roll it. Listen to what he has to say.
I don't know. I mean, I think he's the best. I said it. Yeah, I think he's been the best for a little bit now, and it's going to take a full team effort to stop him, and same with Draisaitl. So, but they're deeper than teams give them credit for sure. I mean, they're very deep. They wouldn't be where they're at without the full team effort. And for me, I'm not really thinking about that a whole lot, obviously.
Yeah, so he's not taking them lightly at all, and, you know, I think that's kind of what the Flames may have done, and, you know, obviously it's tough to say, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but MacKinnon, you know, it's true, like, both games, all three games that the Oilers played the Colorado Avalanche, they were great games. The great one himself said, the first game against the Avalanche, the Oilers Avalanche this year, was like the most exciting game he's watched all year, and it's so true. I even made a video about it if you want to watch that. I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, regardless, both teams are star-studded. Big X factors. I kind of want to quickly talk about this. For the Oilers, the biggest X factors for the Oilers, if they're going to advance, the bottom six, obviously the top six is going to do what they're going to do. But the bottom six, you know, Kyler Yamamoto, Warren Foegele, and Ryan McLeod, that line was obviously noticeable for them in the last series, but they didn't really, they didn't score any goals, like that line in and of itself. So, you know, here's hoping that can change. And then I'd really, really like to see Cassian, you know, bang one in, Derek Ryan, or Josh Archibald. So bottom six is gonna, you know, I think the top six will cancel each other out, and I think this series is really gonna rely heavily on the bottom six. So that's obviously a lot for Yamo, a lot for McLeod, but I mean, they've been sticking out, and they've been this close in every one of their games. Yamo's like skating with the puck. He's a lot more noticeable. I get mistaken for Ryan McLeod with Connor McDavid, or for Connor McDavid with Ryan McLeod sometimes, because Ryan McLeod's got wheels, and you know, they're gonna start going in. And here's hoping, you know, those are kind of the unsung heroes for this series. Darnell Nurse, finally, you know, we're paying this guy $9 million. I know he might be a little chipped up or hurt or whatever you want to say, but he was finally able to put one in the back of the net versus the Flames. And, you know, I've been saying this all year. They're just this playoffs. It's like a different guy every other night is stepping up, and we needed that goal, like, huge. And, you know, he came up huge with that goal. He is injured, but I mean, if Nurse is able to play like, you know, a bona fide #1 defenseman like he has in the past, like I really like our chances against the Colorado Avalanche. So I think Nurse is a huge X factor, and ultimately, Smitty, you know, he hasn't played great. I'm going to be honest. He hasn't played like lights out or anything like that. He's just had to be good enough, you know, good enough against the Flames, because he just had to be better than the other goalie essentially. But I think this is the series Smitty, you know, makes a name for himself, and really like you know, here's hoping, you know, when we talk about Smitty, we'll be remembering this series in, you know, years to come. So he's got a lot to prove. He just has to be better than Darcy Kemper, and here's hoping he can do that. I think the last time the Colorado Avalanche played Smitty was in the second round. No, it was the first round of the 17-18 playoffs when Smitty was still playing for the Flames, and he was just lights out in that entire series. So if we can get that Smitty, that would be huge, and I would just really, really like our chances against the Avalanche. So as for the biggest concerns, obviously there's quite a few when you got the likes of Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. Obviously a lot of offensive threats, but I mean, yeah, the obvious one's Nathan MacKinnon. This guy, he makes something. He's kind of like McDavid. He makes something out of nothing, you know. You've seen his goal the other day. That was, you know, just unbelievable. You know, there's a good chance he could do that against us, right? He's got the skill to do that. He's got the willpower. He's physical. He's got the shot. He's the driver of that team. You know, in a real world, you know, I guarantee Nathan MacKinnon would, you know, captain pretty well every other team in the NHL if he wasn't on the Colorado Avalanche, or if Gabriel Landeskog wasn't the captain, I guess. But yeah, I mean, he's obviously a huge concern for the Oilers. He's lit them up all year this year in the OT and in the shootout, and yeah, so that is a huge concern, and I kind of talked about this earlier. The Avalanche's power play is pretty lethal, like very lethal. It scares me quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, we gotta not let them get on the power play for sure. But those are the biggest concerns, and that's pretty well all I got for this preview of this series. It's going to be an amazing series regardless. Like I said, Oilers fans, we made it this far. Honestly, if we lose, hopefully we don't lose, knock on wood. But if we lose, I mean, we didn't go out to the Flames. We finally made it past the first round. We shut up all the haters, you know, saying McDavid can't win a series. Well, he single-handedly, you know, you could argue that he won the series for the Oilers. All in all, this season's been a win, and you know, despite, you know, you look at where we were in January. I didn't even know if we were going to make the playoffs. We weren't even we weren't even in a playoff spot. It was just so bad, and you know, just so many good things have happened to us, and you know, I'm not taking it for granted, and neither should you be. These runs are, you know, far from in between. I'm 23 years old. This is the first time I've ever watched my team in the Western Conference Final. Yeah, so that pretty well wraps up this video, guys. It's going to be insane. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're an Oilers fan, if you're an Avalanche fan, if you're a hockey fan, where do you think this one's going to go? Is it going 7? Is it going 6? Oilers winning, Avalanche? I'd really love to hear your thoughts. I'm always reading the comments. Yeah, and the support's been awesome lately. The views have been coming in, the comments have been as well. So if you're new to the channel, or if not, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really goes a long way, and I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So yeah, there we go. This is gonna be insane. All starts tomorrow, and I cannot wait. I'm gonna recap game 1. I'm gonna see what happens, win or lose. I'm gonna make an epi about it, and here's hoping the Oilers win. Knock on wood again. Yeah, so I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So here's hoping they can come out with the dub. They persevered all year. Like I said, even if the Oilers don't win this series, it's a win of a season, and Oilers fans, you got to be pretty happy with you know, how this season turned around like that. So that's all I got for this video, guys. Take her easy, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.